Mark stared at the email for the 5th time, his mouth dry. "We regret to inform you." His phone buzzed. Another client pulling out. Another meeting cancelled. Another door quietly closed. "I don't understand," he whispered to the empty office. "I did everything right." Across the city, a woman closed her laptop, took a breath, and calmly drew a line through his name. He would never know who she was, and he wouldn't be the last. Ada had learnt early that bullying wasn't always loud. Sometimes it wore a smile. Sometimes it sounded like laughter behind your back. Sometimes it came disguised as just joking. In school, she had been easy to miss, quiet, withdrawn, the kind of girl teachers worried about briefly, then moved on from, the kind of girl classmates used as background noise for their cruelty. They thought she forgot. They were wrong. 10 years later, Ada returned to the city unnoticed, plain coat, neutral face, no desire to be seen. She didn't want apologies. She wanted precision. Mark had been the golden boy. Popular, charming, untouchable. He never insulted Ada directly. He just planted ideas, suggested things, shrugged when rumors spread about her being unstable, obsessed, weird. When Ada stopped speaking in class, he smirked. Now, Mark ran a consultancy firm built entirely on reputation. Ada spent weeks studying him. She noticed the shortcuts, the tiny lies, the way he believed himself too smart to fail. So she helped him succeed. An anonymous introduction, a lucrative contract, tight deadlines, big promises. Mark cut corners. She waited. Then she sent nothing but facts, documents, timelines, inconsistencies to people who already suspected something was off. No drama, no accusations, just truth. The investigation crept in quietly. So did the consequences. Clients vanished. Staff left. His name became poison. One night, Mark sat alone, lights off, city glowing beyond the glass, wondering who had decided he deserved this. Ada crossed his name off her list. Celine ruled the school without raising her voice. She smiled while she excluded, complimented while she humiliated, made Ada feel small, then acted surprised when she cried. "You are too sensitive," she'd said. Now, Celine was famous. Perfect lighting, perfect skin, millions watching her every move. Ada didn't rush. She watched. She waited. When old messages surfaced, screenshots Celine assumed were buried, Ada didn't release them. She simply made sure the right people found them. Former friends spoke, then assistants, then brands started asking questions. Celine went live one night, eyes glassy, voice trembling. "I don't understand why this is happening now." The comments moved faster than she could read. "This isn't new. We warned people. Finally." Sponsorship emails stopped arriving. Later that night, Celine stared at her reflection, mascara smudged, and whispered, "Who is doing this to me?" Ada closed the app. Jonah never bullied alone.
he filmed. When Ada tripped, he recorded. When she cried, he laughed. When she begged him to stop, he said, "Relax, it's not that deep." The videos spread. Jonah grew up, found stability, became a teacher. Ada almost skipped him. Almost. Then she remembered deleting herself piece by piece just to survive. She didn't expose him. She let him expose himself. Old posts resurfaced. Jokes he'd forgotten. Cruelty he'd normalized. Parents grew uneasy. The school reviewed his history. They called it a resignation. Jonah packed his classroom in silence, confused, ashamed, afraid. At first, it felt like coincidence. Then, whispers started. Each downfall was too exact, too personal. Mark messaged Celine. Celine called Jonah. They joked nervously about karma. None of them said Ada's name. They hadn't thought of her in years. Ada never forgot how it felt. Not the moment themselves, but the weight they left behind. The way laughter clung to her long after it ended. The way shame followed her home, sat beside her on the bed, and stayed quiet, as if it had always belonged there. She remembered standing in front of mirrors, pulling at her own face, searching for the flaw they all seemed to see. She remembered replaying their words until they stopped sounding like theirs and started sounding like hers. That was how it worked. Cruelty didn't end when the bullying stopped. It moved in. It rearranged the furniture. It spoke in her voice. She learned how to shrink, how to lower her eyes, how to become agreeable, invisible, safe. And the worst part wasn't the humiliation. It was the certainty that no one would ever come back and say, "I was wrong." No teacher, no classmate, no witness. The world had already moved on. That was when Ada made her promise. Not in anger, not in tears, but in stillness. If the world would not remember what they did, then she would. If no one would restore what was taken from her, then she would restore it herself. And she understood something then, something she would carry quietly for years. This wasn't revenge. It was justice that arrived late because it had been ignored the first time. So when the moment came, Ada didn't confront them. She didn't ask for acknowledgement. She didn't want apologies shaped by fear. She wanted truth to meet them the way it had met her, without warning. Sometimes she passed them on the street, unrecognized, unimportant, free. And they felt it, that unease, that sense that something had slipped away and could not be reclaimed. The worst part wasn't what Ada took from them. It was what she refused to give back. No apology, no explanation, no closure. They never knew it was her. And they never stopped wondering who remembered. Ada left the city again quietly. And for the first time in her life, she slept without rehearsing the past, without bracing herself for laughter that wasn't there. She slept knowing she had not disappeared. She had been vindicated by her own hand. For the first time in her life, she slept well. Thank you for staying until the end. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next story.